Hello. Hello. Can you hear me all? Hello. All of you hearing me? I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us discuss with looping in C, as we have already discussed about the decision structure with decision making and branching in our last session. Let us discuss with the looping in C. Let us see what is looping. The looping, exactly how it works, that it will execute the sequence of statements many times until the stated condition becomes false. Now, a loop consists of two parts. That is the body of the loop and control statement. How it works, that the particularly a sequence of statements, in the sense that there are so many statements which we have to execute these statements in number of times. For example, if you say that there will be some factory and that factory has 1000 workers, and how we can say that the loop will work for their salary 1000 times, because the formulas for calculating the payments of any employees, those employees will be calculated 1000 times with the same formula, because the employee will have a particular formula. Now, how we can say that we can calculate the sum of some numbers, for example 1 to 10 numbers, sum of first 10 numbers, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So we have to calculate the sum of these numbers from 1 to 10 by adding 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on. So for this reason, we need a loop, and this loop is having a particularly a control statement where we have to stop that loop, where we can conclude that loop, and the body of the loop, which will contain the number of statements which will execute when the control statement will given a true statement. So that is a particularly control statement is a combination of some conditions that will be direct the body of the loop, which will be executed until the specified condition becomes false. So the purpose of this loop is to repeat the same code with a number of times. So same code in the sense, the number of statements, maybe one statement or multiple statements, these number of statements will be executed and repeated with the number of times. How many times? Maybe n number of times. So the loop which will execute the sequence of the statements many times or n number of times until some condition will become false. Now, how many you can say that there will be some conditions which will be available, and the number of things which we have get repeated in the looping, that is called as looping statement. How you can say? Let us see how it works. As you can see, as per the diagram, the test condition will be get true. Now the test condition which is given in the kite shaped diagram symbol, which will condition will be tested, and if this condition will be get true, this will execute the particularly loop. So loop may contain one or many statements, and later on also the loop will get running, the group will get running, and where the loop entry will be having, this loop entry will be again test the condition. Now if this condition is again true, this will again execute the loop, that is number of statements, maybe one statement or multiple statements. So this will happen, the loop will happen with number of test conditions. So at the last the test condition will get false. At the last the test condition will get false, and you will come out from the false part of this test condition, and you will get the out of the loop. Okay, so this is the particularly looping where we can say how it works. If the test condition is true, then the loop is executed, and if it is false, then the loop breaks out of the loop. After the loop is successfully executed, the execution again starts from the loop entry and again checks the test condition. Yes? Anybody is having any query? Okay. Please mute yourself. From the loop entry, and it will again check for the test condition, and this will keep on repeating. So the loop will be repeated number of times. How many number of times? Where the test condition is given, and this will have the maximum value or minimum value. So the sequence of the statement to be executed is kept into curly braces, and which is known as the loop body. Now, what are the statements available? There may be one or number of statements, or you can say multiple statements. These number of statements will be executed, and that will be kept into the curly braces. After every execution of the body of the loop, the condition is verified. Every time the condition will be get verified, and if it is found again the true, the body of the loop is again executed. Now when the condition check will return the false, that is condition will be get false, the loop will be not executed, and you will come out from the loop, that will break out of the loop. So that is the happening with the loop, where we can say we are testing the condition, and if that test condition will get true, then and then the body of the loop will be executed. It may having one or many statements. Again the loop will be executed, running that loop, and you are going from the loop entry to again to the test condition. If this test condition is get false, then and then you will come out of this loop. Okay, now let us see types of the loops. What are the types of the loops? So whenever we are giving the position of this control statement, that is the test condition, the looping is classified into two types. So that will be depending. First is entry controlled loop and second is exit controlled loop. What is that exactly? So this will be depends on position of your condition. Now, first is the entry control loop. In an entry control loop, the condition is checked before executing of the body of the loop. This is very important. Before executing, just see, this will be before. You can say it will be checked before executing the body of the loop, and it is also called as pre-checking of loop. So this is called as a entry control loop. Now, what is the exit control loop? Here you can say in the second thing, in entry controlled loop, the loop will be, the body of the loop will be checked and
सर आवाज येत नाही.
Sir, we can't listen you.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Little bit the technical glitch is there. Are you hearing now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, let us see again. There are two different types of loops in C. That is the entry controlled loop and exit controlled loop. In the entry controlled loop, the condition will be tested before the executing of the loop, and it will be called as a pre-checking of loop. Let us see pre-checking of the loop. See, this is the loop which will be called as an entry control loop, and in this entry control loop we have to check the condition before executing of the body of the loop. In the exit controlled loop, we have to check the condition after executing the body of the loop. So that is called as a post-checking loop. So both loops are having different features. Okay. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me all? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Now, what are the different steps involved in the loops? Let us see how the loop will be get involved some of the steps, where we can start with our loop, but in the first step the initialization will be get happened. the initialization will be get happened with this. This is, you can say, initialization, and this and the counter variable will be get initialized. So at the first time we have to get initialization, and the counter variable will be get initialized. First time you have to initialize the counter. In the second step, you can say the condition will be checked. So in the second step there will be a condition where you can say the counter variable will be tested, and for the given condition the counter variable will be get tested. What is in steps 3? If the condition will return true, now this counter will be getting true, then the C statements inside the body of the loop will be get executed. If this condition returns false, if this condition will return false, then the for loop will be get terminated. Terminated in the sense it will come out of the loop, and the control will come out of the loop and it will go towards the next statement. So that is the step 3. Now what is the step 4? After the successful execution of the statements inside the body of the loop, the counter variable is incremented. What is done? The counter variable. So now counter variable does the very crucial role in this loop, because this will be counter will be first initialized, then counter variable will be tested, then after testing of the counter variable, if that condition will be get tested and it will be true, then and then body of the loop will be get executed, and after also the counter will be get incremented or decremented. So that will be depending on the operation, that is plus plus or minus minus, as these are the operators, that is increment operator and decrement operator. So the counter variable has a vital role in the loop. Let us see, there is one diagram which will show the happening with the loops. What is that? The loop will be get started. First thing, that is the counter variable will get initialized, then the loop will be condition will be tested. If this condition will be tested, condition will be true, then and then the code inside that loop, whatever the statement, may be one statement or multiple statements, these all statements will be executed, and you will again update the counter in the sense it will be incremented or decremented. So this will be incremented or decremented, that is plus or minus, and after incrementing of the counter you will again test the condition, because the condition will be tested with the counter. Now if this counter will get again true, the code inside that loop, whatever the statements inside that loop will be executed, and again the counter will be updated, that is counter will be incremented or decremented. Again you will come to the condition. Now this will be done, the condition will be tested up till the condition will be get false. If the condition will be false, you will come out of the loop and you will come to the next statement, whatever the next statement written after this condition, then the next condition, next statements will be get executed. Okay, so this is the steps involved in the loops. So what are the types of the loop here? The types of the loops are, there are 3 types of the loops. There are 3 types of the loops. This first type is a while, second is do while, and third is a for loop. So there are 3 loops in the C language. First loop is while loop, second is do while, and third is a for loop. Let us see the first loop, that is while loop. So this is the first while loop in C. First loop. A while loop is the most straightforward looping structure, very important and very easy statement is a while statement, that is a while loop. So the syntax which we have given here, see, this is a while. We know that while is a keyword in C language. So the while is a keyword in C language. You can just see after the while there is a parenthesis. You have to place the condition here. Then the body of the loop, that is the in curly braces, there is a body of the loop. So this may contain one statement or number of statements. One statement or number of statements. So there may be multiple statements. Okay. So this is the entry control loop. So this is entry control loop. See here in the while loop, there is a condition which will be tested at the first. Okay. Now, in the while loop, the condition is evaluated before the processing of the body of the loop. If the condition is true, very important, then only the body of the loop is executed. Body of the loop in the sense the statements written inside this curly brace will be get executed. After the body of the loop executed, then control again goes back to the beginning. Beginning in the sense after executing of these statements, you will come towards the again while condition. So the condition will be again tested. The same process, and if the condition is checked, if it is true, very important, if it is true, then the same process is executed until the condition will become false. Okay. Once the condition will become false, the control will goes out of the loop. Now, if this condition will become false, then you will come out of this loop and you will come toward the whatever the next statements written after the while loop will be get executed. So after exiting the loop, the control will goes to the statements which are immediately after the loop. So which are immediately after the loop. Here this control will the transferred. The body of the loop can contain more than one statement. Now this will be one statement or number of statements. Statement or statements. If it contains only one statement, then the curly braces are not compulsory, but it is a good practice, though it used to curly braces, even we have a single statement. If there will be any single statement, we can use the brace. So it is a good practice to use brace here after the while condition where the statement will be only one or multiple statements. If there will be multiple statements, you have to compulsory use the curly brace. Otherwise, if there will be only one statement, it is not needed to give the brace here. Okay, but it is a good practice. The good programmers normally use these braces in the statements. Okay, so that is the while loop. This is the example of while loop. Here you can say the include stdio.h, include conio.h. You can say here main program is given. Integer number is equal to 1, number is equal to 1, and it is very important thing here is number is equal to 1 is initialized. In our loop statement, first thing we have to do that initialize the variable, that is the counter variable. Now second, while num is less than or equal to 10. Now the condition is tested here. Num is equal to 1, num is equal to 1. Now while condition will be get appeared here. In the while loop, the num is tested with the number 10. Is it less than 10? Yes, 1 is less than 10. Then what will happen? You will go inside this curly braces. What is there? There is a printf statement. The printf statement shows that %d, that is the num value, will be get printed here. What is the num value? Num value will be 1. Okay. Then the counter is incremented here. See, incrementing the operation, that is num plus plus, will be incremented num value. What is the value of num? It is 1. It is less than 10. The condition will be tested. The body of the loop executed. And after the body of the loop execution, the num is incremented. Num is incremented with 1. So num will be the new value of num. The new value of num will be 2. Now it is again tested. 2 is less than 10. Yes. Again, num will be printed. What is the value of num now? 2. See here, \n will give this value in the next new statements, new line. Then num is again incremented. Now num is 3. It will be again go towards the while condition. Now the new value is 3. See, now while in the while loop, num value is now 3. What is the value of num? Is now 3. Now 2 is get discarded. Num is 3. It is less than 10. Yes. Again 1, 2, then 3 is printed. See here, this is the output of this program. This will be incremented every time. At the last num value will be, this will be 10. It will be again tested. The value will be tested. 10 is less than or equal to 10. Again, the 10 will be printed, and then again num will be incremented. Now the num value is 11. Now num value is 11, and you will come towards the while again. While will be executed. The num will be 11 value. Num will be value 11. 11 is less than or equal to 10? No. So the condition will become false. Now the condition will become false, and you will come out of this loop where this return 0 statement is available, and it will get executed, and all these numbers up to 10. Up to 10, why it is up to 10? Because this is counter variable. This is the maximum value. How many number of times we have to execute that loop? 10 number of times. So this is 10 value. Okay, so this is written all this in initialization with the variable called num with the value 1. We are going to print from 1 to 10. Hence the variable is initialized with value 1. If you want to print from 0, then assign the value 0. If you want from 0, if you want from 0 to 10, you have to this equal to number is equal to 0. And then very important that if you are using this num is equal to 0, then and then this will be 0 get printed at the output. Now in the while loop, we have provided a condition num is less than 10, which means that loop will be execute the body until the value of the num becomes 10. So after that, loop will be get terminated, and the control will fall outside of the loop. In the body of the loop, we have to print the function to print our number and increment the operation to increment. This is these two statements. Okay, so this is these two test statements. Then the value of the per execution of the loop. An initial value of num is 1. After the execution, it will become 2. And during next execution, it will become 3. This process will get continued. this process will get continued up to the value 10, and this will then it will print the series on console and terminate the loop. So this is happening of while loop, the handling of while loop. Okay. See here, this is the next, that is the do while loop in C language. The do while loop is a very similar to the while loop, except that there is a condition which will be always executed after the body of the loop. See here, the body of the loop first executed. This is the body of the loop. This will be executed at the first, and at the last there is a while condition, and the expression will be tested. The condition will be tested at the last. Okay. Now the syntax of do while. The syntax of do while is given here. Do, then statements in the body of the loop, one statement or number of statements, and after the curly brace there is a while statement. While is a keyword. Expression will be again tested, the condition will be tested, and then you will come, if the condition will be true, again it will go to the next statements, that is the body of the loop. So you can say, we saw in the while loop, the body is executed if and only if the condition is true in the our last while loop. Okay. I think there is a less than 1 minute of this meeting. You can again click on the same our meeting link, and again you just, we can conduct another our lecture. You can just conduct and click on the next, that is the link